your wellness coach and warrior, Susan.
As always, we'd like to thank you for joining us today, and we ask that you please join in on the conversation where your thoughts, your comments, and your opinions help drive the conversation. Last week we talked about AI and you, so now we're going to do part 2 of AI, artificial intelligence, and you. And the question then was, should we welcome or should we worry about a future full of thinking machines? So somewhere in there, I think I got a call after the show was over saying, you all just make it seem doom and gloom that AI is going to just, destroy humanity. Now, if you guys have an opinion about this,
speak up.
And it's positive for AI, please do give us a call, because from where I stand, it's bait and switch.
Right.
They kind of bring you in with that, and then all of a sudden, as a convenience or something that you need, and then all of a sudden it goes to a real purpose, which is bigger than you.
Exactly.
And your circumstances.
Exactly. I agree.
So, is there anything good that we can talk about with?
I mean, when you're lazy and complacent, then this is a great day and age to be alive. Sure.
Absolutely, because to me,
The rumba.
And I think the issue is people need to remember, and it could also just be because you're just tuning into the show, so you're really not that familiar with us, and that's fine. That's the whole point. We want you to get to know us.
Absolutely.
We want to get to know you. But we're not your average people. We're more alert. We're woke. I mean, there's no other way to put it. We are.
And we have heightened awareness.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
not paranoia. This is what people try to sometimes say was paranoia. But there are times when there's just information that you need to know. But AI, I think, is good. It does serve a purpose. I have an issue with the bait and switch.
Absolutely.
Well, I remember the day that I heard the commercial regarding LoJack. In case you got locked out of your car,
Right.
and everything was sold someplace else and everything. I knew then, well, if they can unlock my car
Right.
from wherever they are, then they can lock me in my car from wherever they are. So I always go to the converse side of it, like, okay, y'all, I know because y'all telling me this.
Right.
Oh, I know there's a bigger picture over here to my right.
Right. So just like with my buddies who have, little fancy Samsung TV, it's great, beautiful stainless steel French doors. You have the monitor on the front of the screen and everything. So, from my phone, or I can just look inside the fridge without actually having to touch the door. Okay, great and wonderful. If you're upstairs, because you got 2 stories, 3 stories, whatever, or you're, in the garage, or okay, great. I get it's convenient in that way, but the same way that you can look in on that appliance, the same way that appliance can look out. And with you,
they told
us, it plays music. It does that microphone works both ways.
It does anything you want. I told you, I can sit at home. I'll get my little drink on. I like my Pinot Noir. So I'll have a glass, and then all of a sudden, Alexa starts to talk. I didn't hear you. Well, I wasn't talking. Yeah, she just comes out of
It
nowhere.
wasn't for you.
Right. So it makes me nervous, that it comes on.
Absolutely.
And I know it's a listening device. Well, hell, I'm not,
Well, the same thing too with the Google
Undercover
Voice
anyway.
on the phone.
Right.
I've been sitting there in the bed. There is nothing going on but me writing on a piece of paper, and all of a sudden Google Voice will say, "Please repeat," or I didn't recognize what you said. I'm like, I'm talking to you.
That scares me. See, that scares me. Yeah.
You're home by yourself.
Yesterday, I had called to DC to talk to one of my friends, and we're talking on her home phone. And her cell phone reads, "You're on the phone with Marion."
Oh,
see,
I'm like, so she's getting tripped out now, and I'm like, I've seen stuff like that, but see, I don't always tell people about stuff like that because they think it's, I'm tripping.
Oh yeah, I get the here she goes, the eye rolls and everything else.
So I don't tell you, so when I'm on the phone with her, she's saying, "Sis, I see what you're talking about. I'm on the phone. I'm on my home phone with you." And the cell phone reads on the phone with Marion. And then it said, it started timing. She'd been on the phone with me for 1 minute and whatever.
See.
And this is her home phone doing this.
Well, but you know what I think too?
I don't like all this linking together.
That sense of fear is more prevalent for those who hear us talk about this sort of thing, because they didn't want to think about that.
Well, that's why we talk about the things that they don't want to think about.
Right.
And
they can't, you can't fault us for.
You can dismiss it. You can right. It's just information. It's just an awareness. It's not something you have to adapt or decide is something that you need to deal with. But, again, it's just information. And when situations present themselves and you have adequate information, then you know how to respond.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm looking for this movie that Pierce Bronson was in, where he was the creator of a lot of electronics, and he had a smart house. And someone that was employed with him and was kind of inappropriate with his daughter, he fired them. This guy tapped into his car, tapped into his plane, tapped into his house, and managed to, the daughter used her iPad and I guess it had a stand that she propped up in the bathroom while she was in the shower.
Mm-hmm. And he tapped into the
he tapped into it all. And they had the issues that they had to go through in order to disconnect it from the house because it was connected to everything.
Well, they're building homes like that now. You guys know that I am in real estate. And there are homes now that are, one of the builders, absolutely one of my competitors, they're linked with Amazon. So the entire house is wired, if you will.
Right.
Okay?
One of these Amazon homes.
Yeah. Okay?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I'm like, okay. Y'all think nothing of that?
But you know what's funny? I will tell you that many years ago, I thought that was the greatest thing because I thought, man,
it sounds great.
It sounded great. But then all of a sudden I got paranoid.
Well, there you go.
Like, wait.
At some point,
if I see you, you can see me.
Right. That's what I said. If you can lock me, if you can unlock my car, you can lock me in my car.
Right.
Okay? So all of those things about, the
it's for
convenience that we can do.
Okay,
it's for
well,
you.
you can say that I'm a thief and that I jacked my own car and, screw me over that way.
It's just scary that, again, it is about convenience. And so they know that they've made us lazy enough now. We're non-thinkers.
Right. Sheep.
Most people can't even process critical thinking anymore. I mean, it's just, they don't know what it is.
We know there's no common sense.
There's no process. They have no process. Right.
Yeah. Common sense is uncommon.
So we did a show on that about a year ago. But that's true. So it's like, I don't know what we're left with. We try to feed them the information that they need, and they'd rather be listening to, Kanye and everybody else when Kanye's got their money. Y'all getting excited. Y'all getting excited about somebody else's stuff.
Right. And so those of you who are listening, you pro technology, please, we want to hear from you. But, change my mind. Please, change my mind. Call us here at the studio, 713-789-0096. For those of you who can't call, you prefer to text, or if you just want to remain anonymous, you can text us at 833-OMG and you. That's 833-664-2638.
Okay.
And of course, those on our live Facebook feed, hello to everyone who's already been checking in. Hello to Athena and Dorothy. Thank you so much for tuning in. But yeah, convince us.
Convince us.
Or at least soften me up a bit about it.
See, see, to me, in my world, it's all process and game.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, we'll go to break and we'll be right back.
To The Bridge. Share your opinion by calling 713-789.
Before we come back, I'm going to read the live commercial for Sam Houston. I'm going to pull it up before I forget again.
I don't know exactly what they said, but you can write still just to keep us engaged. Just to keep, yeah. I do have a list of pros and cons that I can, I don't have those are. Moving around. Do you have to add? You have to add right now?
Whenever we're ready. Let me see.
I think I like the jazz better.
I do too.
Your favorite country artists are back in Houston to play the 2018 Spring Concert Series at Sam Houston Race Park. Every Friday is 50-cent beer and live racing. Then this Saturday, don't miss Roger Krieger as he takes the Bud Light stage immediately after live quarter horse racing. Tickets for as low as $10 are on sale now at shrp.com. Get your tickets to see Roger Krieger today. Concert presented by ECI, Sam Houston Race Park. Come for the fun.
Welcome back. You're listening to All About You with OMG and Friends, where we talk about the things that you think about. We are engaged in part 2 of AI and you. I don't know if many of you have thought about AI. I guess because like anything else, we use the service, we indulge, and we don't think anything of it. It's just part of our world now. But it is something to give thought to as to whether or not we need to welcome AI or do we need to worry about AI. So again, it goes back to life being different. Now, I have no problems with thinking machines that solve problems and stuff like that. But when you start to make them human, when you start to have them now creating dolls for sexual relationships, that's a whole nother level of things we're talking
about. And then creating them in such a way that they're intelligent. They're able to pick up.
That's my point.
Exactly. Yeah, pick up, what you like, what you feel, what, all of that. That's
so it's taking the human out of humanity because now we're already having issues with relationships and things like that, and trying to teach children that what you say on Facebook matters. And just because no one can see you,
it never goes away.
Right.
Exactly. And it never goes away. Anything that's been on the internet, I deleted it. I did it. No, you didn't. There's always a way to pull it and keep it. And I don't have my MySpace account anymore. I'm still pulling up that profile and your music.
It just seems like everything that is done, there's a record. The voyeurism. I remember when it started. Everybody wanted to see what everybody else is doing. I guess I'm not a nosy enough person to care about that.
Well, that was right.
I
am too. It's intriguing.
Care less. It doesn't.
Yes, I don't use it. I think for the purposes that some nosy people do, though. I use it strictly for. I don't need to know every aspect of the Kardashians' life.
I don't even care about
that's not the kind of thing that I'll.
I don't need to know what plastic surgeries they've had and that they're going to deny.
That's not the kind of stuff. So I think that's the other thing too, is people being able to draw the line between they believe that they have a right to know every aspect of those people's lives because it is available in some respect.
But why? As your own life diminishes?
But see, that's what it is. You are so
concerned and preoccupied and enthralled with somebody else. And some celebrity status.
Everyone is so concerned about everybody else's business, which is why their lives are so sad.
I know.
Exactly. Because you put your focus and energy out there instead of putting it in here where it matters.
That's one of the things I'm glad that we do not do on this show. We don't regurgitate celebrity gossip.
No, not at all.
I mean, a lot of the shows are just that. Who wants to, you have it on TV, you got it on smart phone, you got it on the radio. Who cares?
I think it's about the dollars. It's about the dollars.
It's always about the dollars. But while your life is being lessened in quality, we're looking at how theirs is growing.
Exactly. Right. Making them millionaires and billionaires.
Right. Exactly.
Right. So you're spending your time and energy on their life instead of your own. You're spending money that you don't have on their life,
in their life
and not in your own because you're not investing in yourself. I can't believe she had this and that surgery and look at her now and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, if you would have just taken the money you spent on that magazine or to buy this extra or the cable bill that you got all these extra entertainment channels so you can get all this cheese, man. Okay, because that's what it is. It's just gossip. You're paying all this extra money to these cable providers. That money you could have saved it to go on a trip. Go to the gym. Buy some better food.
Have an experience.
Now I have a real issue. Even though the only time I will listen to this particular station is if I'm walking my dogs in the morning. And I have an issue when you have a show called Ignorant News. When you have a show called Black Women Problems. Why does that need to be broadcasted?
That's self-loathing.
This is on major, this is
mainstream.
Mainstream. Yeah.
Self-loathing.
I'm like, why would you, if you had the opportunity to do something, why would you use that?
Exactly. Because there's so much more that's needed, and people like to pretend as though they can do that, but as long as I'm donating enough money, or as long as I'm doing this or this, there comes a point in time where you have to be accountable for more than just that.
Right.
That what you say, once again, what you say matters. What you say matters.
You know, so do you think that AI, what do you think is the future of AI? I mean, right now, you know, we've got the cars.
Mm-hmm.
1984.
I'm afraid.
That's our future.
George
George
Orwell.
George Orwell,
We
1984.
did, right. We did a movie.
That's what I see the future as. Hunger Games.
Mm-hmm.
That's real people.
I have always said that, and
Yeah, Unitarian.
called Maze.
Not Unitarian. Utopian.
Mm-hmm.
You know, society. That all of that.
I see the same thing.
Yeah, Divergence.
I see the exact same thing.
Hunger Games. 1984. You want to know what our future is? We're living it.
Well, we are, because George Orwell wrote in the 40s, or was it 40s, about mass surveillance.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And then here we
And
are.
how we're programmed.
Right, and how we're
Exactly.
programmed, right.
And we were unaware of it. And now, you know, there's those few who were trying to change it and who
They
were aware
they
of
were
it.
awake.
You know, right?
Exactly.
They were awakened, and how they're they're the villains in this
Oh, absolutely.
in this
Because a
life.
lot of people don't want to know. Whatever it is, sometimes people just don't want to learn anything else. But
I mean, there's some things you don't need to know. There's some things we shouldn't do. Just because we have the capability doesn't mean we need to do it. Just because they make that little black dress in a size 18, honey, does not mean you need to be wearing it. Okay, what's in my size? It doesn't mean it looks
matter.
good.
Right.
It
And I
doesn't
said
mean
the
you
same
shouldn't
thing
wear
for
it.
myself, because a lot of times people will say, oh, well, you know, you tall, Amazon type. Yeah, but there's some stuff I need not have on.
Right.
I don't care what you say. I don't care if they do have it in my size.
Right.
I don't care what
I'm like,
you
I don't
say.
care if I look young enough to be appropriate to wear something like that.
It has to be age appropriate.
I'm not going to, because just because I can doesn't mean that you should.
Well, you know,
Right.
AI, I think they're planning for AI to do shopping, like a personal shopper.
I can see
I've
that.
also seen where they are now starting to use AI in construction. So, hence,
But that's not anything new.
none of it's new.
Look
I'm
at the
just
production
saying,
lines for automobiles.
None of it's new. Even surgical procedures.
Right.
are done
Look
robotically.
overseas. Let's look at Asia
So
and
they do good things.
fast food. They
Right,
have
like,
robots.
okay, right, I was just
That's a
going to
good
say,
point.
if somebody
That's a
wanted
very
to
good point.
surgery.
They do
surgery
surgeries.
machines. Mm-hmm.
You know,
And that's great and wonderful.
they
It's less
clean your house. They
invasive.
clean your house.
Right.
That's good too.
Yeah.
That's great.
Go
You know, I don't have to hire Lupita. I don't have to hire Lupita to come into my house. And I gotta hide, you know. Let me lock up my good jewelry.
Right.
You know, or do you know Lupita? How often have you worked with her? Or do you know the other senora that goes to clean so and so's house?
Mhm.
You know, that's how we're hiring people to come in and clean the house.
That's
Right.
true.
You know, you have to do that. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with asking those questions. There's nothing wrong with wanting to know, okay, word of mouth, you know, these people, how often you trust them. Okay, great, wonderful. I'm going to give this lady a shot. There's
Right,
nothing
right.
wrong with that. So I can see why I would want a robot.
Mm-hmm.
Why I would want technology to come in and, you know, clean my house, like the little robo
Oh, yeah.
vacuum crap.
I
that,
need
you
two
know.
of those.
You know your RoboCop.
Well, I don't need one. I got dogs.
You got Met Warriors. Like
I
I
got
said
dogs.
before,
They
you got-
clean up. I've gotten so used to having my fur babies. I can go to somebody else's house, and when I drop something, I don't think to go pick it up because I'm used to having some
The
little
dog
fur ball.
come
Come
out.
through. They got it. They're gonna clean it up until. I remember one time we were at
Well,
some.
that's
It was a
new.
family barbecue, yeah, and they didn't have pets. So I dropped something and it didn't think, let me pick it up. And I noticed that people just kind of looked at me
that's
like,
the
are
only
you
thing-
really not going to pick that up?
that's
And I'm
the
like,
only
oh,
thing I
that's
have it.
right. You don't have pets. Yes, I need to clean that up. In my house, we don't have to worry about it. It's cleaned up.
Yeah.
They are.
You're right. I have two that follow me around. I have to send them to go to your house. You're in my house right now.
Yeah,
Your house.
Same thing. Same thing.
But you know, AI, we've got the Tesla autopilot, as you know, the Apple Siri, and then you've got, isn't there another one, Katrina or Karina or
Is it?
Karana or something? There's something on my home computer. Karana? Somebody.
Corona's
it's
beer.
That's another girl who
Stop
answers,
on
all, who answers all your questions, but I just think that machine intelligence is still pretty dumb for now because it still I think humans still may be a little smarter for now.
No,
But I do believe there's a revolution. I think a revolution that could happen. There's an
I think it's
an evolution?
perceived dumbness.
Okay,
This technology
it's too advanced.
is way too
Way
advanced.
too advanced.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're presenting it to us as though we're still hold the upper
I
hand.
knew you
just
would
like with
right.
anything else.
Bait and
Right.
switch. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. They do just enough. Just like when they switch the sizes on your groceries, on your peanut butter.
Yeah,
They do it in
in increments.
They do it in what it's called just noticeable difference.
Right.
That's what it's called. They years ago.
That's the government's that's the government's version of lube, people.
Yes.
It's to give it to us in little increments so it don't hurt. So we don't notice it.
Just a little bit.
You know, they just slide it on in there.
You didn't even know that, did you? You didn't even pay attention.
Didn't
to
even
that.
realize it.
You know, but that's the whole point. They catch you sleeping,
Mhm.
and at that time you can interject subliminally or otherwise and get what you want in there. You know, and that's why I say it's called. I've never forgotten that. I don't know why. I was in graduate school, and you know, when you are working on communications, and you have advertising, you have marketing, you have psychology, TV, you have all these things. And when I first heard that, you know, it was just kind of like, wow, I guess that's really how this
My
works.
mother said that about the 5-pound bag of sugar. No, not anymore.
No, it's
4 pounds.
Yeah.
And it might get smaller.
And wasn't it like 4.5?
But you know,
They switched it to like 4.8. I
Which-
want to say,
that's
and
true,
then,
that's true.
yeah, because then it's like, well, that's an odd
well, you
number.
know,
Okay.
well, you know what
Right.
where that started was in grocery stores.
Mhm.
You know, and like you were saying about the foods changing just a few cents, and then you go back next week and it's a little more. But it's called just noticeable difference.
Right.
J&D. Everything's got a name or acronym. I'm like, this is why they have a name because people are doing it.
Right,
They've been doing this kind of stuff for a long time.
Well, and so here's my thing too. If Facebook people, remember the gentleman that talked about the algorithm that they utilize to get us kind of addicted to our Facebook
well,
and everything.
they do.
Right, and my thing is, if they can figure that out, imagine what they can do.
They have cures for diseases.
Mhm.
That's what it is. They could.
Mhm.
That's what they could do, and they
They
do
could
have.
And they do have
They
them.
do have them. But
That's
it's
why
just-
things are patented.
There's no
Mhm.
money for.
Cancer is patented, people.
Mm-hmm.
That's patented. For those who didn't know that, look it up. Do your own research. You don't have to just believe us. You know,
Yeah.
do your
Right.
research. It's patented for a reason. Cancers are patented. Other diseases, other incurable diseases are patented.
I'm
Has anyone?
serious.
Yes, they
I
have
know that.
patents and trademarks to them for a reason.
Because they know.
Come
they
on,
know.
y'all remember the movie Outbreak
Absolutely.
with the Ebola virus and the monkey and all that? They had all of
All of this,
I believe it.
I read. I guess when I was in school, two things I realized. When I was 17, I realized meat wasn't the way to go. Then when I got into graduate school, I realized, unlike most people, the more you study something, the more you like it, or the more you evolve and come into it. It was the reverse for me. The more I understood it, the more I studied it, the more I was taken aback
Right.
by what it actually meant.
The more you knew.
The more I knew, and I'm like, you know, does anybody else see this? Does anybody?
No, that's
You know-
why they say ignorance is bliss.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's living in la la land.
I mean, I
we're
caught
living in
that
cloud
early.
nine, and it's great and
And
wonderful.
I've always said that whenever they bring something to you in a movie,
It's
it's
out
already
somewhere.
there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
replicated. You've got a you know a prototype. You see all of this.
Right.
All that we're talking about right now was in iRobot.
Yes.
It's also in
It's in any movie.
Contagion,
Yes,
Outbreak,
That's right.
it's in a whole
Um,
bunch of them.
State,
Yeah.
the Empire State, no, or State of the Empire.
Yeah.
With it's got
Is that not the one with Will Smith? In it?
yes,
Enemy
with
of
Will
the
Smith
State.
and Hackman, Gene Hackman.
Yeah, enemy of the state.
Yeah. Enemy of the State,
Right,
there you
right,
go.
Right.
Well, that's like too the machines that they use in some countries to make fake food.
Oh
That-
gosh,
like
yeah.
remember, I don't know if you've seen, and you all can look it up on YouTube because I did. It's a sad day, but they make fake lettuce,
Oh yes,
Yes.
they make fake shrimp.
In Asia.
fake rice.
Fake rice,
Uh-huh.
like little rubber.
And noodles,
Yeah.
like ramen noodles.
Yeah.
Ramen noodles is really plastic, people. Like you
Wah, wah,
look,
wah.
yeah.
See, people don't want to hear this.
Uh-uh.
They don't want to know. We
No,
did, we
it-
did.
Look
it is.
it up.
Yeah.
We are not
I
making
didn't
the
wanna know.
step up, folks.
Even when I found out, I was still like, but man, but that ramen noodle though.
I survived
struggle
in
is real,
college.
you know?
I survived in college with that ramen.
And then you first buy a house, ramen noodle goes the wrong
Okay.
way.
It can be your friend. It
No
can
one
be
is
your
above the
friend.
ramen noodle.
Not at all.
Yeah,
Not at all.
So you figure
you know,
if they're making
But
that.
if you had the opportunity to see what that ramen noodle plastic stuff does to your stomach, go to YouTube. It is on YouTube.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And then also
How your body does not break it down.
right. And I was just gonna say because in diseases how they're like this is not supposed to be kind of like what we were talking about for implants.
Mhm.
It is not supposed to be there.
Right.
So we don't know what to do with it. So we're just gonna like buffer around it, I guess, and see what happens.
Right. And we're gonna pump our bodies full of medication and everything else
And-
Mhm.
because it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Right.
But we're gonna pump it full of what Big Pharma tells us to
Mhm.
because we want to get rid of those symptoms. Well, no, your body that's happening for a reason. You know, your body, it works the way it does.
It is
for a reason.
It's a
perfectly old machine.
That's right. It's a machine.
It has been created with perfection.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so it does things just like with birth control. You know, you have birth control that will completely stop your cycle. And I think that is so unhealthy. I said, we have it for a reason, and it expels for a reason. So if you're stopping it, what's going? It's got to go somewhere.
Something's happening.
So something's going on in your body. What?
They just don't want to know that. So,
right. And if you can make a machine to make all this kind of stuff, there's a human programming that machine, and if they get a fly up their nose,
right.
who knows what it'll do next? They may get mad and decide, well, I'm going to make this so that particular piece of equipment, just like we're talking about in terms of robotics and people and things like that, we're going to make it so that piece of equipment does what I want it to do when I want it to do it to people.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, one of the robots told somebody, "I will have you in my people zoo."
Well, you know,
you said that last time, and it blew my mind.
And you know what? Recently, as a matter of fact, it was last night. I saw a trailer for a new movie that's coming out, and it's called Genesis. But I was half paying attention. But what really caught my eye was the fact that it had to do with the future. And then they released this prototype.
They're giving it to
that they had created.
They're giving it to you.
And it was a human. Right. It was a human, and they did I don't know what other kind of stuff with it. But then they released him to like test him out, and they were all excited because he did what he was supposed to do. And then there was at one point where he turned against them because it's like, well, you designed me.
Wasn't that Frankenstein?
Right, kind of right.
Same thing.
But see that they designed this thing, this person, okay, this subhuman. They designed him with the ability to that if it's not to the advantage of the human race.
Oh, that's like that.
Or if it's not good, right. But if it's not good,
then
then it's something that needs to be destroyed.
Right.
So if it's inherently evil, then it needs to be destroyed. And so it turns around to a human, one of their creators, I guess, and they were just like, well, what are you doing? They said, well, you designed me to destroy anything that's like this and like that. And it says you have yet to show me any good, or you have yet to show me anything but this. So you're next.
See, again, that's very important, is the fact that there are no emotions involved.
No,
exactly.
So whatever it is
Straight
you are
business.
assigned to do, if you fall in that category, then you're going too.
Right.
Because
parameters.
it's
And you can't be mad because you created that.
created that.
Exactly.
You created that monster.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and it's I don't know.
Do you remember Battlestar Galactica?
See, I'm not a sci-fi person.
See, Battlestar
And that's the other
Galactica,
crazy thing.
I've heard it. I've never
See, I
watched
think
it.
I would be a lot more aware if I were into sci-fi. I would have seen, you know.
I'm just into Star Trek.
No.
See, I've watched so
I've
many
already-
growing up with my sister June.
I've heard of
Williams,
it.
if you're on here, because in Battlestar Galactica, the I guess there were cyborgs that were made to look
But look
like
at
humans.
Listen to these names, exact same.
Yeah.
Everything that they're using.
Oh yeah, and the thing that was increasingly scary about them is if one died, their consciousness was transferred to someone. So if I was one of them and I died, my consciousness would be transferred to one just like me who remembered everything I remember.
So you never truly
So you're
died.
talking clones, pretty much.
See,
You know, they have something new I saw on TV yesterday. It's you know how they require, well, the DNA thing. Everybody wants to know who they are, where they belong, and all this other stuff. See, I have an issue with that, because to me, you are willingly, yet again, they tell you it's all for you. Here's another good thing, guys. They'll tell you that, oh, this is for you to know your history, to know your ancestry. Send us your DNA, and we'll figure out where you came from. Okay? They have your DNA at that point.
see, and it wasn't until you commented
know,
about that
I know,
last
me
week.
too.
I was like, I didn't think about that.
Yes.
Yeah,
see,
It's like that's right. Okay, once you do what you need to with
What you gonna
it,
do
what
with-
happens with it then?
You make another daydream.
Here's another
See?
daydream.
So I'm saying nobody's paying attention to all these little things because we're looking at them as conveniences and just niceties and pleasantries, and you know, we don't have to do certain, you know, laborious tasks because we don't have to. You know,
Right.
and
It's just like when they were cloning Dolly. Y'all remember Dolly?
yeah, the lamb.
The lamb. So when they first came out with that, I mean, everyone just it was in disbelief and in shock and horrified, and how dare you, and you can't do things like that. So then what did they do? They're okay, that was a little too much too soon.
And they're,
You know, so okay,
and
so now we're gonna present it as stem cells to help cancer and all the poor children who have childhood cancer and incurable diseases, and that's
They
how
play
it was
on your heartstrings.
right. That's how it was presented to us. Oh yes, of course.
they play on
We
your
need to save the
heartstrings.
children. You know, this is horrible and terrible. These poor innocent children, we need to save them. And so we approved stem cells. Well, what do you think created Dolly? Stem cells.
That's right.
So that's how they knew that this would work for diseases and everything else, because they've been done it already. And
it's like that reading between the lines thing. We have to read between the lines, and then people have to say, hang on,
right,
what you gonna do later? Even if that means, okay, put an addendum in that sucker that says when you're done saving those babies, you can't do nothing else with them.
Well, pretty soon they will be growing babies. They won't.
They are.
They won't. Yeah. You don't have to.
They are outside the womb, and you can determine you can determine their traits already.
Oh yeah, I remember
their sex and their traits. You know,
but they have some outside womb that they use.
Yeah,
I can't think of what it is. I knew what it was. Certain science. I can't think of what it is. But yeah, you grow babies.
Which is it. I mean, once again, we're not even going to be.
All of this was in the Matrix. I mean, so if you go back far enough. Everything, and I've always said this is why I have a thing with movies as well, because it's in plain sight, it's in your face, and they're bringing it to you. Most people look at it as entertainment when it is actually your life.
Right.
It's what you're living.
The way that it is.
But you don't pay attention.
Will be.
Right. So yeah, you just going on with them eating popcorn. You don't even think about
it. People are getting too excited about the wrong thing.
Absolutely.
We take it as face value. And we don't realize that there are people that are trying to make money, and there are people that are trying to maintain or get control in some kind of way. So if they feel like they can do that, it's kind of like, Total Recall. The man was controlling water, but yet there was water. So you out here, you got all this stuff going on out there. You've got people with, who are partially robots and all this other stuff going on.
Yeah.
But it's a human being who initially decided they were going to do this.
That's why I said will humans always be smarter than artificial intelligence? I don't think so.
Not unless we keep reading.
No, because that's not what we're creating.
And that's not what we're creating, Now, artificial intelligence, I think at that point I need to go to break, and I shall be right back.
You are listening to The Bridge. Share your opinion.
I'm sorry.
You have a 30-second ad, or you just get
that was that one.
You
had that one?
Mm-hmm. You want to read it twice? Or you want to read it
again? You want me to? I
can. Okay, so I'm going to go towards some of the things they claim as a pro and con. Right? Okay, I'll read some off of here. These are pros and cons. I don't know what I'm giving. Oh, there's. I'll take one. Okay, so these are all pros. And these are all cons. Between
Your favorite country artists are back in Houston to play the 2018 Spring Concert Series at Sam Houston Race Park. Every Friday is 50-cent beer and live racing. Then this Saturday, don't miss Roger Krieger as he takes the Bud Light stage immediately after live quarter horse racing. Tickets for as low as $10 are on sale now at shrp.com. Get your tickets to see Roger Krieger today. Concert presented by ECI. Sam Houston Race Park. Come for the fun.
You're listening to All About You. We are talking about AI and you. And we're trying to find some of the more positive, proactive things that artificial intelligence seems to provide for us. And AI is the intelligence of machines, as you know, and it is about designing machines that can think. Now, researchers also aim at introducing an emotional aspect into them at some point. Now, one of the pros they say for AI is that the chances of error are almost nil, and greater precision and accuracy is achieved. So that's one of the positive sides for having AI. But again, in my book, I think that you are the people that are less educated, those jobs will be replaced.
Right.
So
and they're doing it now.
They're doing it now.
If you look, a lot of fast food restaurants are being remodeled and updated. And what are they putting in? They're putting self-serving kiosks.
Right.
You know, you just tap a little iPad at the airports, especially here in Houston, the Intercontinental. A lot of their new terminals, the new restaurants and things that are opening up, the new concepts, they're all iPads. You order, you do this, and it's all about, efficiency and being, having a correct order and getting you in and out. It's all about convenience. And then you have the one person who actually just hands you your food.
Wow.
There's a cruise ship where they have robotic bartenders. and you have it set up. They said a full bar that's run by, just a robotic arm. And that's how they're serving drinks. So jobs are becoming obsolete.
I know.
And so is the interpersonal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just going to the grocery store. I refuse. I know the newest thing now is not to go to the grocery store. You have your food delivered. Ask
Right.
my daughter, okay? But when I go to the grocery store, I still get in line where there is a person.
I prefer
I refuse to slide my.
I've done it.
I just don't feel like checking myself out.
Right. Now, there's just a day where I'm just extra
Yeah,
irritated,
yeah,
extra
yeah,
irritated with
yeah.
people. Like I've had enough
Yeah,
of the
tired.
people thing.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and go through the self checkout,
You
and
don't
then I
have to talk
regret
to
it.
anybody.
Yeah, and then I regret it because then I'm stuck there because I need assistance
the
from an
attendant.
associate
The
because they got to
attendant.
push a button.
Right.
You know?
And they're doing something else, so you kind of
Yeah, they're always just standing there, too busy standing there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Another pro they have is artificial intelligence finds applications in space explorations, and intelligent robots can be used to explore space, of which they've done. There are machines and hence have the ability to endure the hostile environment of the interplanetary space. They can be made to adapt in such a way that planetary atmospheres do not affect their physical state and functioning.
I can see that. I can see that. Well, there was another one that I can see this considerably just knowing what actual pets do, but they're talking about robotic pets that help patients with depression and keep them active.
What about
So-
a real? What
well,
about
see,
a
here's
real
my-
pet?
and
What about a real pet?
When I saw this, here's my question. But what are we trying to eliminate dogs
Real
and cats?
pet,
What are we
right?
doing?
Right. I'm just
Look at
saying.
any shelter. There's plenty
Exactly.
of
Animals that
animals
need to be adopted,
that want to be adopted, that want your love, and if you need them there for comfort, that's their whole life.
Exactly.
You are their life. Go. What do you need a robot for? Oh, here, spend your money on this metal thing, even though the warm live thing is right over here, and we're about to, euthanize it because you want to get a robotic thing instead. Come on now.
I mean, the world is crazy.
That sounds like this
We
is
have
a-
on our live Facebook feed, shout out, hola, saludos Quintana.
Okay.
We have Quintana
Okay.
listening from Mexico. So when we say we're global station people, we have a global audience. Okay. We have listener Evelyn. What do the technical field people say about AI? Any warnings? That's what I'd like to know. I want to hear from people in this field.
Well,
Because,
a lot of them
when we're off the air, y'all complain that, we weren't doing this and doing that, but I don't hear you.
Okay, I read something earlier and it says tech experts basically believe that artificial intelligence has the potential, as you know, to transform the world. But some of those same experts don't agree on what kind of effect that transformation will have on the average person. So I think techies, they're probably in agreement of it because they're in the field.
Right. Well, think about the one who he just died recently.
Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking, yes.
Yeah.
He gave a warning about it.
Well, I tell you what, he was a genius, and then Elon Musk is a billionaire. So
exactly.
both of those people, one genius and one billionaire, both agree that this particular level of pursuing AI
It's dangerous.
is going to be dangerous.
Yeah, they gave
Absolutely.
warnings, and they were like, "There's just some things we're not meant to do.
And if you
Just because we have the capability to
Doesn't
do it, but
mean
it doesn't mean we need to open up that box.
yeah, 'cause
And-
once
and-
you're there, you're there.
There's no going back.
And I'm looking at some of these too. They're talking about morally and ethically. There are certain things that are not being addressed in terms of AI, which is basically what we're talking about too in terms of communication. Morally, should they, if they have your stem cells, should they use them for something else? I mean, all of these are things that they're not putting into play, but are very important when we're over here going, yay, smart house.
Okay, yeah, and the whole house is wired,
Right.
satellite.
But you fancy, huh? But you fancy. When your house locks you in, it takes you as hostage. We're gonna see how cute that
I have a
fanciness is.
safe room, but I can't get out of it
Right.
now.
You're silly.
You know we're going to see.
Okay, I will give another. You have another con. I mean, what are you pros? You have
Well, I had
Well, you
two
got cons.
pros, but I have cons now. And the one that I was reading about the moral issue is definitely true, but they're also talking about the expense that it will also be attached to. Okay, so now you have these artificial intelligent items, and now you've got to get them repaired, the
I was just gonna say, they
servicing.
have to be uploaded, all this
Exactly.
information.
All these
It would
updates.
afraid me. I mean, it would make me afraid. Well, I must have been in my old age. I had to live in a Chardonnay before I came to work, and it just came out. See how much fun we have all about you? Okay, I got what I was saying. Y'all silly. But I lost my thought.
You talk about the storage of, uploading all of the data.
I'm afraid, like in iRobot, that when it goes to be uploaded and updated, you don't know what the hell is being uploaded or updated on this thing when you've got it off in the corner somewhere.
Well, not even just that. Look at our apps. I have to update my stupid Facebook or anything else every other day. Oh, well, we're updating. What new bug?
What happens?
What fixes?
It's just game.
What fixes do you need to, why? And then you can't go past, you have no choice but to update it and accept whatever says,
That's right.
Because if not, then you can't use it.
They're holding us hostage. I
Absolutely.
don't like not having control.
Y'all know me. Don't tell me what to do.
I don't like. That's right. I don't like relinquishing control. If nothing else, even over myself. Not so much anything else, but that which is mine, like my phone. I get worked up because my job has infiltrated my phone with all my stuff from my job. I don't want that on my phone. Yeah. So again,
I don't want to sync this email with that.
I don't like all that. I think it's too much, and it's very much on my part uninvited.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And it's funny, as they're talking about here too, this list is quite interesting.
I'm telling you.
But they're talking about how if you begin to utilize robots or something of that nature in hospitals, the kind of, just what we were talking about before, they're not able to provide the kind of compassion. They're there for one thing. You told me to go to give her the shot.
And that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I'm here to do my job.
Just because she says she's feeling a certain way,
I don't care about
and she may be allergic to something.
I don't care about that.
I'm coming here to give her the shot.
And that's all I'm doing.
And I'm going to hold her down and restrain her and give her the shot.
And that's it.
Because they're not, that critical thinking that is necessary.
Right.
They're not going to
They're
possess
there
that.
for one mission.
And I had a nurse a couple of years ago. I was actually in the hospital, and it was shift change, so it was a new nurse coming in, and I remember I was standing up because I was trying to use the restroom, and she needed to give me my medication at that point, and I knew, okay, once she gives me those meds, it numbs me, so I'm gonna have a difficult time, going to the restroom. Finally, I'm at a point where I can get up and go. Let me do this, and I'm trying to tell her, but she's got a shift meeting to go to.
So she's trying to get you.
Yeah, let me just do this, and I'm trying to explain to her, ma'am, don't, because I have been waiting 5 hours to finally, be able to go. And if you hit my IV with those meds,
that's it.
I'm gonna have to start this all over again. Right. And she just wouldn't hear me. And what does she do? Sure enough, she hurries up and hits the IV. And then hurries up and runs out because she's trying to go to a meeting. And you just left me alone.
Wow.
In a restroom with no lights on. I'm hooked on, I've got the monitor, everything, doing that because you were in a hurry because you're trying to do your job.
See, again.
And then it wasn't until she came back later, which of course in my mind it felt like hours. But when she came back after she was briefed, what my medical issue was and this and that and everything else, she came back with a completely different tone.
I bet she did.
And of course, me not feeling well, I caught an attitude real quick. And I'm doped up? Oh, no, man. I let her know, like, no, this isn't working for me.
Right.
So that's what robots will end up doing.
Right.
Well, because that's what she did. She was in a robotic mentality. I have a job to do. I got to do this and do it, and I don't, and it's like, no, that doesn't work for everything.
Doesn't,
Definitely
but we count on it for accuracy and everything else. Pretty soon they will be administering. I think instead of having nurses on the floor in the nurses station, we'll have a bunch of robots there.
Not even that. It's just gonna be like a production line.
Yes.
Get in line,
yes.
And here we're just gonna shoot.
Walk up to the kiosk.
Absolutely. Stick your arm in. Boom. There we go. Get a prick, and then that's it. And we were talking about Elon Musk earlier. Here's this. It says Elon Musk, the futurist CEO of ventures such as Tesla and SpaceX, echoes, and this has to do with anxiety and AI. And he says it echoes those sentiments, calling AI, quote, a fundamental risk to the existence of human civilization. And this was quoted at the 2017 National Governors Association Summer Meeting.
Okay. How recent was that, guys?
Right.
Exactly.
And
this was a few months ago.
Absolutely.
Just a few months ago that he said that in regards to AI.
And I guess too, the things that's interesting is any of the people that want to debunk what he said or what Hawkins said, I'm wondering what their end game would be for trying to claim that these guys are just saying this to say it. They're saying this for a reason.
And they have the money and the wherewithal.
Right.
And Stephen Hawkins definitely had the brilliance So you've got the best of everything right there, brilliance and money, and this is where they're coming from.
These are their sentiments about
This is where they're coming from.
Because if it was all about money, they wouldn't have said anything.
Right.
They would have just kept moving forward and put their money into these processes.
But they see a threat there.
Right. So they've seen something that has not been made public to us.
Absolutely not been made.
You know, and they're trying to give us, that was their way to warn. Look, I can't say it,
but this is how this is going down. Right. And so we're just gonna aimlessly and wander. So I'm hoping not. But
I'd like to help.
This is why we're here every week and have been for a couple of years.
And I'll continue to disable my fingerprint and face recognition. And I'm not doing that. I'm still not going to use my Snapchat filters.
You know what? And I've done it. And I'll tell you the only reason I've done it. It's like based on what you said. I use it when I'm driving. That's the only time I use it. The only time. If I'm sitting at a light for too long or stuck in traffic, I'll stick my finger up there to engage it. Now, I'm not keeping in mind my finger sweep to unlock it does not take that long. It does not.
Right.
I get plenty of light. I can take a couple of seconds, go and be done. But oh no, I got to stick my finger up there. Of course, now I'll be right. So now I'll be ready to engage it because now I'm all flustered.
I'm
flustered.
Well, guys, it says also here that intelligent robots can be programmed to reach, again, different parts of the planetary stations, and they can be used to dig for fuel. They can be used for mining purposes. The intelligence of machines can be harnessed for exploring the depths of oceans. These machines can be used in overcoming the limitations that humans have. Now, that I can see from a scientific standpoint, okay, fine, but it's not going to rest there.
No, it's not. No. Because you forget, we also have movies such as Waterworld.
Oh yeah.
Waterworld and remember Mad Max?
Yep.
It was all desert. Yep. So we want to know what's going on in marine life and how to do, because we need to build a city down there. Absolutely. Because if we're not going to be living out in space, then we're only going to survive underwater.
Oh yeah. Because as we mentioned on our last show, I think somebody was selling space station. They were selling or for rent or at least renting a hotel space in outer space.
Yeah. Get your residential life.
I know, right?
With an awesome view.
Okay.
It's going to be a smart room.
Absolutely, But guys, I think it's probably our time is just about up, but it should be understood that artificial intelligence has several pros, but it also has several disadvantages as well. Its benefits and risks should be carefully weighed before employing it for human convenience, or in the greed to play God. Man may destroy himself.
Yeah, there he is.
Well, thank you for allowing us to entertain or edutain your drive time this week. And we will be back next week.
Share with your friends.
See you on the radio.
Mine's at Tuesday. I'm like, we had to switch our schedule.
That's why
you're getting real comfortable with the radio.
Am I?
Yes.
Very much so.
Am I too comfortable?
No, it's good. It's good comfort.
You're getting
but you know the thing, one of the things I do too though is the more